NBA fans always compare each other's top 10 list. In this video, I'll be telling you who's in my top 10 greatest basketball players of all time list. This video is my list and my opinions, and I'm not claiming that any of these spots are an objective fact, but it reflects my own perspective. Once you've seen the list, you might think that it's a wild list, but I honestly think that a lot of lists online are very similar as people are too scared to give their honest rankings. I've personally seen how people can get very angry at a list. With that being said, this is my list and my opinion. I don't really care if you agree with my list or not, but this is how I see it. I would like to see how you see my list in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10, Shaquille O'Neal. This is the most controversial vote of the top 10. I know Hakeem Olajuwon won back-to-back championships without an all-star level teammate and having a quadruple-double on his name, but I'm gonna say that the Diesel is better. He had one of the best peaks that anyone has ever seen. He was so dominant that the Mavericks coach Don Nelson created the Hacker Shaq rule just to stop him from scoring so much. He averaged a double-double throughout his career, which almost spanned 2 decades. Plus, O'Neal won an MVP, 4 rings, 3 Finals MVPs, and became a 15-time All-Star. With that being said, Shaq is deserving to be in the top 10. Number 9, Tim Duncan. The big fundamental was one of the most consistent players of all time, earning himself 15 all-defensive teams and 5 championships in just 16 years. The 2003 playoffs run was one of the most dominant postseason stretch we've ever seen, destroying the New Jersey Nets and almost getting the first ever quadruple-double in NBA playoff history. Duncan could still compete for rings at a much older age due to supporting casts that he had long after his prime days. This is why I didn't put him higher than anyone else on the list, but he does deserve a spot in the top 10. Number 8, Kobe Bryant. The Black Mamba had an amazing peak, which should put him in the top 5, right? Not necessarily. If you look at his career as a whole, it's not quite that pretty. Kobe did take quite a bit of time to get to an all-star level in his career, as his first few seasons saw limited reduction in limited minutes. His final few seasons were kinda ugly. He was battling a lot of injuries, shooting 20 shots a night at an abysmal 35%. His glory days were still good. In his peak, he was averaging at least 35 points per game while being first team all-defense, which is something that only Michael Jordan has accomplished. The Mamba won 5 championships, and the last one was spectacular. Nobody realizes that he had to lead the Lakers to defeat the stacked Boston Celtics with Garnett, Allen, and Pierce, while having a broken finger on his shooting hand. Number 7, Magic Johnson. In his entire career, he was basically always competing for championships, whether it was the Boston Celtics, 76ers, Pistons, and even the Bulls. He still ended up winning 5 championships and having one of the most impressive playoffs games of all time. As a rookie, he dropped this stat line in the 1980 finals and filling in at center for the injured Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Magic was a model for playing the game of basketball the right way. He specialized in making his teammates better. At the end of his career, he achieved 5 rings, 3 Finals MVPs, and 3 regular season MVPs. Also, before his retirement, he reached the NBA Finals an impressive 9 times in just 12 seasons. People normally would put him higher, but I think 7 is the perfect spot for Magic due to his defensive abilities. Number 6, Larry Bird. I know people would say that he shouldn't be ranked higher than Magic, but he had to battle through the much tougher Eastern Conference, which was a mass destruction in the 1980s. In my opinion, I believe Bird was a more impressive and complete player than his rival Magic, as he had no weaknesses in his game. Bird was a lethal scorer, an elite rebounder, an elite passer, and an underrated all-around defender. He had 50, 40, 90 seasons while averaging almost 30 points a night over 5 years. The 12-time All-Star's career was cut short due to his back injuries, but he still managed to earn himself 3 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, and 3 regular season MVPs. Number 5, Bill Russell. It is surprising that I have put him this high up on the list, even though he lacks some offensive skills. But with that, Russell always claimed that he only did the things that won basketball games. In his career, he won an astounding 11 championship rings, including 8 in a row, and alongside that, he was 10-0 in series deciding Game 7s, and he always played extremely well in those games. Most people believe that he is the best defender of all time, but at the end of the day, winning is the priority, and people could say that he is the GOAT, and I wouldn't even argue with them at all. Number 4. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. When it comes to all-time stats, Kareem is second in scoring, and if blocks were calculated in his first couple of seasons, he would probably be the all-time leader in blocked shots. He had one of the most indefensible shots ever created, his unguardable skyhook. The only thing that's not putting him higher on my list is that he is not the best player in over half of his championship teams. Anyway, he received 15 All-NBA teams, 11 All-Defensive teams, and a crazy 6 league MVPs. So he is definitely worthy of being the 4th spot. Number 3. Wilt Chamberlain. To me, the Big Dipper is way better than what people usually say he is. Stop and think about what an average of 50 points and 25 rebounds looks like on a nightly basis. I personally don't think that people take the time to grasp that. Throughout his career, he broke so many records that they just called him the record breaker. People try to belittle his accomplishment and saying that he played against weaker competition, but when you consider that he played against Bill Russell, Walt Bellingham, and Nate Thurmond, each around 12 to 16 times per season, then you actually start to realize how impressive all of his accomplishments were. Number 2. LeBron James. At this time, he has put so much of his body into the game that he is deserving of the 2nd spot. He has earned an impressive 20 All-Star selections, has won 4 championships, 4 MVPs, and 4 Finals MVPs. Now he is the NBA's all-time leading scorer and also achieving over 40,000 points through his entire career. Plus, he is 1st in all-time playoff points and 4th in all-time assist lists. His NBA career is becoming more impressive the longer he plays, but peak performance is more important to me, so this takes us to the number 1 spot. Number 1. Michael Jordan. Air Jordan earned himself 6 championships in just 8 years, going 6-0 in the finals. He had earned 9 first-team All-Defense and won the scoring title in all of those seasons as well. In those finals he won, he was always breaking NBA records. Jordan was so dominant that he kept Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Shawn Kemp, Penn Hardaway, Reggie Miller, and many others to 0 NBA championships. This is one of the reasons why he is number 1 on my list and the greatest basketball player of all time. So, what do you guys think of this? How is your list different from mine? I look forward to seeing your comments down below. Thanks for watching as always, and like and subscribe for more NBA content.